Hello, everyone. Um, and you spelled my name incorrectly, Sergey, because I will show you a few things about my name later on. Um, so where I'm from and what I'm going to do here. So I'm originally from Russia. I'm currently staying at a hotel in Armenia, which is close by. And I'm Russian, Armenian, so multiple citizenship. I identify myself as Russian. And here, it's my burden to talk about some security things and especially offensive security. So that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do here, talk about containers and how to compromise them and what you can fix in your environment. So just let me say a few words about myself. Oh, by the way, I was trying to do it in person in May in San Diego, but at the same time, I was in Minneapolis and some events overlapped and it wasn't possible to get from Minneapolis to San Diego and back on time. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. So now I'm here online. I already had a session a year ago on summer. There was Deadwood, I guess, or I think so. It was Deadwood in July or June. So I already had a session about Azure. And now we'll continue this journey into Azure, this time about containers. So what I usually do on a daily basis, I'm a consultant, security consultant, pen tester, instructor. So I teach my customers as well. I speak at conferences. You may find my sessions at DEF CON or the West Hackin Fest, of course, BSides, Black Hat Europe in London. So you name it, many famous conferences. If you want to find me, so here's the link to my LinkedIn. I don't like Twitter, so I'm trying to reduce number of social networks, so I'm using only LinkedIn. If you want to find me, so here's the URL. What about my background? Of course, my background is security, but maybe I have some awards or certificates. I do. So I'm Microsoft MVP in security. I was MVP in Azure. They changed my category to security. I also have OSCP, OSEP, and many others. I don't think you are very interested in that certificate. The most important, I prefer live demos. So you will not find many slides in my session. Most of the time, you will see live demos. Most of the time. I will show you only a couple of slides, and most of them in the beginning. So before I start, just one thing. If you look at the schedule, you will find that my name look a bit differently. So what I want to say here, I remember when I speak for you for West Hackin Fest a year ago, some of the students, some of the participants, they want to make a memes with me because of my special expressions. So here's the meme for you. I don't work in surgery. I usually do some kind of pentesting and other things. All right, so let's get started. First, I want to be on the same page. I don't know what you experience in Azure, in Azure and containers. So what I want to do, I want to quickly explain you what kind of services we have in Azure that work with containers. After that, I'm going to switch to demo and show you how we can pen test them. So probably if you're here on this session, you have some background and you have some knowledge about containers. So you probably know that containers we deploy from images. So we don't do it like with virtual machines when we click next, finish or whatever, or operating systems. We deploy containers from images. And so first we build this image using some software, usually it's Docker. We don't do it manually most of the time, and there is a part of our CI/CD process. So we build image, but we want to use this image in the cloud. So what we're going to do, we're going to push image to container registry. So registry is like a storage where we're going to store our images. But this time, this storage will be cloud-based, and so all images available in the cloud now. So we push our image to container registry and store those images there. Then we want to use those images. So we want to deploy containers from images. We can do it. We can deploy containers using Container Instance. Container Instance is like some kind of small dev for dev and test service. Not only dev and test, or maybe small applications, dev and test. Most of the time used for some like basic applications. More commonly used, Kubernetes. So we deploy containers in Kubernetes. To deploy containers, Kubernetes or Container Instance will pull image from registry and start to deploy the actual container from image. That's the basic. All right. So because we will use all of those services in my demo, I want to make sure you understand the difference between them. So Container Registry to store images, Instance and Kubernetes, we use them to run containers. All right, and what I want to show you first is very quick hit we can find when we do Pentest. So probably our goal will be Kubernetes, because like most containers will be in Kubernetes. So we're going to focus more on Kubernetes, right? So we want to compromise Kubernetes. The easiest way to do it is to find out cached credentials on the admin machine, on developer machine or admin machine, and reuse them. So when you do Pentest, you already have some kind of access, or maybe you will get access. So if you can own the machine of developer or administrator who has access to Kubernetes, you can reuse credentials that are stored on the local machine and get access. Let me show you that real quick. I'm going to switch to demo. So here's my machine. If I open CMD, so here's the tool called kubectl we usually use to manage Kubernetes. Let me say get pods. So it's working. And you saw that before. I did not provide any credentials. I just opened CMD and it's working. So I have access to Kubernetes. Why? Because credentials are cached. Let me go to another machine. Come on, CMD. D. And let's say kubectl get pods. So it should fail. This time it should fail. This machine doesn't have cached credential. So please fail. Come on, fail. Someday it will. Someday it will. Yeah. So I cannot connect to the server. So where can I find credentials? Credentials will be stored in a folder called .kube of user profile. So if I go there, it's empty on this machine. If I go to the previous machine, so here I have something here. Let me copy this. Paste. Oh, come on. Looks like I should zip it first. It should be like 10 kilobytes. Like there are a number of files there. All right, now let's try again. Fingers crossed. Yep. Look at this. So now I have access to Kubernetes in the cloud. Let me type something like kubectl exec -it. Let me connect to this pod. Yep, I'm there. And let me say cat and just look at some of the files. Let's say main.py. And now I have access to like front end. So in the real Pentest, when you sneak around the workstations, what you can do, you may find out credentials, copy them to another machine, and reuse them and get access. That's the quick hit. That's what you can do in your real Pentest. And you may say, all right, that's it. So we can finish the session. Not yet, not yet. So I want to show another method which can be used like more interesting with multiple steps and multiple misconfigurations that you may find on the company side. So what else can be done? What else can be done? So to be fair, many companies, they really focus on Kubernetes. They think like, oh, we have containers on Kubernetes, we must protect Kubernetes. And also, by the way, if you look at the agenda, there will be a workshop like protection of Kubernetes, security of Kubernetes in a couple of hours. But what if container registry isn't well protected? In this case, it may cause a lot of problem. So if container registry doesn't have permissions configured properly, attackers can download images and pull images from container registry. So when they pull image, they can trojanize, so put the Trojan, like poison the image, and push this image back. Of course, depends on the privileges. So it may be like a typical misconfigurations, like when too many privileges to pull and push. And so if I can push image with my Trojan to container registry, the company will run containers in Kubernetes or container instance already Trojanized. And so all containers that will run there will have my Trojan. So let me show you that. It will be multiple steps. It will take multiple steps. So let's switch to demo. And let me show you that. So first of all, I want to, let me close that. I want to change the folder. And what I want to do now, I would like to download image from container registry. I can do this command. So docker pull, and here's my registry name and my image name that I store in the registry. And so I pull it from online storage, and I save it as local file. So let's do it. Let's begin. Sometimes it happens. And let's take a look. Yep, look at this. So hello-org or original was downloaded from registry. Now, what I can do with this image, I can unzip it. So let me extract with 7-zip and rename it. Really? Create a file with the same name in the folder. Okay. So now, if I unzip it, I can find the structure of my image. And if in every folder, there are a few files like JSON, layer.tar, and version. So I'm interested in layer.tar. So let me open layer.tar in 7-zip. And here I can find not like a structure of this container. Let me open another one. R, EMP. Another one. Oh, HTML, and index. So here's my like a web page of this container. So what I can do, I can unzip any of those layers. And then I can put my Trojan layer here. So I can put my Trojan. Before I zip it again, let me go to this folder. What I want to do, I want to get file hash, because I need this file hash later on. File hash and layer. Oops. layer, nope. Layer tar. So I need this file hash. Take that. Open Notepad. Don't ask me why. You will see it soon. So I found the file hash. Now, next step, I can zip it again. So let me say zip, add to archive as standard. Oh, that's star. Click OK. And let me just override it. And let me take file hash of the new file, which is different now. Copy that and paste it in Notepad. All right, so now all of this looks a bit weird. Like, what are you doing here? Let me show you the one last step, and we'll be ready to deploy our Trojan. Now, the last step is to add my. So I add my physical Trojan, and that was. Oh, by the way, what was the Trojan? Let me show you real quick. So the Trojan was just a library with my reverse shell. My reverse shell will accept parameters, so I need to add parameters. So I'm going to open CMD real quick. Oh, not CMD, sorry, Notepad. And I want to add few parameters. So it will look like this. So I must add it in the end, like that. So I will preload this library. You probably heard about this attack with library preload. And it will accept two parameters, remote address, which will be my command control center, and my port I'm going to use, typical 4444. I'm almost done, but there's one moment. If you look down below, you may find that there are a number of hashes. So B something something, DF something something. So one of those hashes must be changed. So the old hash was D265. Let me find D265. Where's that? DF, 4F, D5. Oh, here we go. The last one. So that was the hash, the original hash. What I need to do, I must change the old hash to the new hash. That's it. So that's all I need to do. And then I can zip container again. The only one problem here, it's lowercase. So lowercase. So I need to move, and my PowerShell gave me uppercase. So let me switch from lowercase to uppercase. Oh, sorry, vice versa, from uppercase to lowercase. Uppercase to lowercase converter. Lowercase, and let me copy that, paste here, and save it. All right, I'm ready. Now, what I need to do, I just need to zip it again. And that archive. Now I'm gonna call it hello Troj. All right. Now, so I have hello Troj. And this image is Trojanized. And before I send it to Container Registry, I want to test it locally. I want to make sure that this image is working properly before I just send it to whatever it may be, to registry. So let's do it real quick. What I want to do, I would like to say Docker load. Main already exists. Really. let me just in case. Oh yeah, when we play with images, let me just remove all images to avoid confusion and do it again. Yep. So we load this image. Now what we can do, we can run it. But before I run it, let me establish my listener in my command control center. And let's say Docker run. Sorry, Docker run, and that will be this name. Yep, I have a shell. For users, for regular users, that should be the regular, regular application. Should work like a regular application. I don't remember, by the way, which address I'm using here. Port 80 or something like this, port 8080. Don't remember. But anyway, it will work in Kubernetes. So that's it. I have a shell. But that wasn't my local machine, on my local machine. What I want to do now, I would like to push it to container registry and just wait, like, you know, like a fisherman or fisherman, and just wait, do like a bait and wait before someone connect to my control center. Let me close that. And close this. Hey, close this. CMD, wake up. Now, next up is going to be Docker. And let me first make sure that I'm logged into ACR, just in case. And let me push that image to container registry. Layers exist, and you can see here only one layer pushed because all others already there, so they already exist. I just pushed one layer, and I override old image with a new version, with my latest version. And for companies, it will not be very transparent because it's just a newer version. And that's it. Now, if I go back to Azure and look at my container registry, let me go to repositories. Here's my hello W. And look at this. It was pushed in my local time zone. It was happened just, where's time? So just a few seconds ago. All right, so a few seconds ago. So now what I want to do, I would like to first test my container, my Trojan with container instance. Let me deploy container instance. Say create instance. There's called ACI. And I'm going to take image from container registry. Click next, make it public. Yep, so let's click review and create. And click create. Now, please don't use nmap to connect to my list. So in a few seconds, I should receive, maybe in 30 seconds, I should receive reverse shell to container instance. To be fair, container instance itself is not very interesting for me because container instance is more like a standalone application. It will not give me any further access. So But container instance, I'm showing you here just for test purposes that it's working, should work at least. And so I could get access. Yep. So let's see what this IP address is all about. Who is? And MSFT, Microsoft. So yeah, that's from Azure. It wasn't this time my IP address or whatever. That was Azure. Yeah. So I got a shell to container instance. But to be fair, again, container instance is not super interesting because container instance is more like isolated. And let me also show you that for users, it should be like a regular application for users. If I click on this IP address and just go there, it should be like a hello world. Maybe it'll take a bit longer to show me the page because it's the first run. But for users, it will be like a regular application, not something like they will not see the Trojan. Should not see that Trojan at least. All right. So that was container instance. But let me do it in Kubernetes. But we just need to wait a bit longer and should work properly. So what about Kubernetes? So we can do the same in Kubernetes. Let me deploy application in Kubernetes. And new listener. Oops. New listener. kubectl apply -f. Yep, deployment created. And yep. So this time I have a shell, but this shell will be from Kubernetes, which is much more interesting because in Kubernetes, I may have not only one container, but multiple containers. And now I can try to explore what do I have. So let's do it. So first of all, I want to add some variables, path variables. And the first thing I can do, I can get token of service account because every container has a JWT token. If I extract it, maybe I can do something with this token. I copy this token, paste here. Let's first check what this token is all about. By the way, I'll refresh. Oh yeah, hello world, finally. Now, so if I look at the token, if I decode the token, I can see that audience, only Kubernetes. Expiration, we can calculate that, but we can just go to claims and see when it will expire. It will expire, in 1 year. Not bad. Quite nice token. But audience only in Kubernetes. So it's scoped to Kubernetes only. All right, let me go back. No, not here. Here. So let's take a look what we can do. First, I would like to install some tools like curl, because from this container, I would like to query some other containers. So let me quickly install curl. Not quickly. All right, I should start installation while I'm showing you token. Anyway, so it should be fine soon. Now, so next up, let me parallel say, do it like this. So I'm gonna say export token. And yeah. Now, let me copy this command, go back to my Kubernetes, my shell, and add new variable called token. So now what I can do, I can run multiple commands and use this token for authorization. So for example, I can check, so probably heard about that. Maybe if you haven't heard, there's a workshop today about Kubernetes. So you will find that there are a number of nodes. And what I want to do, I want to connect to check API, and look at this. So I can see that this token allows me to read some information about Kubernetes. Maybe I can read something else. So for example, whoops, unauthorized. Let's try again. Nope, unauthorized. I tried to use the external name. Let me switch that to internal name. So let me say I would like to do it like this. By the way, the external name may be already valid. And let me say we1, and let's try again. Yep, I can read those APIs. Available APIs. And so that's what I have available to me. To be fair, yeah, I can find storage version hash, but I will not be able to go deeper into those APIs, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends where you are. I didn't find a way to go deeper with this token, this specific token. So, but what I can do as well, I can check what other containers are available, and maybe I can get some benefits from other containers. So what I want to do, I want to install Nmap, quite well-known tool. It takes some time before this Nmap will be installed. In parallel, what I want to do, I would like to go to Kubernetes. For the sake of time, I will go to Kubernetes and find out internal IP address, because I don't want to scan the whole network and waste your time on that. I would like to find the IP address. So that will be 10.0.54.166. Nice. So, all right. So I think we finished. Let me type. Oh, not yet. So Nmap may not give me the right feedback. So let me try type it Nmap. Not yet. I think it will not tell me when finished, so I should just try it. So Nmap again. Nope. Still installing some. Processing, maybe. Nmap, yeah. 10.0.54.166. So that will be IP address of backend node I want to test. The port will be 6379, and I want to avoid pinging. And look at this. This port is opened. Again, for the sake of time, I already know the port. I know the address. Of course, we can scan everything and find out more. What this port means? 6379 port. What it is? So this port, what it is? Redis. So that's the backend with the Redis database, Redis instance. So if that is Redis, what I can do, I can quickly install Redis tools and try to connect to this Redis database, and maybe we'll be able to do it without any authentication. Probably I will. Let's try. Should be pretty quick compared to Nmap. Now, yeah, should be fine. I'm gonna say Redis CLI -h and the IP address. Copy this one. No response, but let me type info. Yeah, I'm there. I'm on the Redis cluster. Let's say keys, and I have cats and dogs. What it is? Cats and dogs. Let me go to the actual application, and we have here like a voting app. We can vote for cats and for dogs. If I look at the like a get cats, 0. Let me vote for cat, and let's get cats again, 1. So I can see what's going on in the database. Now I want to show you the last thing, and then I will ask you to help me. So can you please go to that address and vote? Cats, dogs, whatever. Just vote. I'm not really sure if I can put in the chat. I mean, not a problem, I think, to just type it. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Good. So I can see in real time when data is added. Let's see who wins, who is winning. 7-7. Oh, I can see so many operations here. Still 7-7. Maybe someone click reset periodically. Yeah, definitely. All right. So thank you. You may finish voting if you wish, or you may continue. I don't mind. So that was the way. How can we get access to container from another container? So we placed Trojan into the image, and then image was deployed normally was deployed. We get a shell, and so that allows me to connect to other containers from my Trojanized container. So that's another way what we can do with Kubernetes. And in general, if you have access to one container and you have like a default configurations, you may try to get access to other containers, because in Kubernetes, we have like hundreds and thousands of containers, and up to you to configure properly isolation between them. And I don't know what will be in that workshop, but if you're interested in containers, probably something about security will be there. All right. So that was like offensive part. We have 10 minutes left. I want to quickly talk about protection, and then we'll reserve some time for your questions. So to mitigate some of those problems, what you can do, first of all, pull and push images. So I was successful because I can pull and I can push images. What we can do here to avoid that, control privileges. Don't give this permission to everyone. Then what you can also do, you can limit network connectivity to your container registry. You may allow only internal network. So private links, it means only a network in Azure will be able to connect to container registry, not external network, only internal Azure backbone. So only when you deploy virtual network in Azure and through Microsoft Backbone, will be able to connect to container registry. Or alternative, you may still use public IP addresses, public access, but you may limit access only to specific IP addresses. So only like your corporate IP address will be able to push or pull images from or to a registry. All right. Next one, stealing cached credentials. The best you can do here is to use separate workstation for administrative purposes. don't Google or don't use Facebook on your admin machine. And the admin machine should be like a separate from like a regular machines, and it must have different policies, security policies. So you probably heard many times about PAW, so that would be a nice idea to have it. One more about image poisoning. If you remember, when I pushed the image, that was like very transparent. So I was able to push image, and for Container Registry accepted without any issues. It just made a new version. So what you can do, you may configure in Container Registry what is called content trust. So content trust will trust only to specific signers. So yeah, you must sign images as well. So you must also one more step to sign images. But with content trust, you may organize only trusted images. So only signed images, signed properly, will be trusted by ACR. Only those images will be accepted. So quite nice idea. What you can also do, so you can enable Defender for Azure Defender. That's the old name. I forgot to change that name on the slide. Defender for Cloud. Defender for Cloud has VA scanner. It will not find a Trojan because that wasn't vulnerability. That was my malicious file. But if image is vulnerable in general, like has like older version of operating system, base operating system, or like vulnerable software, it will be found and report. So like maybe will not really protect you from poisoning that from my Trojan, but from like outdated software, which may be vulnerable as well, that will be useful. Also, avoid root permissions in your containers. So because I was able to install nmap and so on because I had root. And so when I was able to connect from my container to other containers, it means there are no policies. So there are no borders, there are no limits to travel from one container to another. You can fix it if you deploy network policies. Network policies can tell like this container can communicate with this container and not communicate with other containers. So you might you isolate them from each other. By default, they are not isolated, and you must deploy your policy to do it. All right. So, yep. And finally, finally, let me just quickly wrap up what we had. And then I'm going to switch to slide with questions. And if you have any questions in the chat, I can see one in Q&A. I will check it soon. Let me just quickly wrap up. So what we did today in this session, not just today, but in this session. So we discussed really quickly like what kind of services we have in the cloud for containers, Container Registry, Container Instance, and Kubernetes, AKS. Then we found like a quick way to get access to Kubernetes using cache credentials. And then we play with images from Container Registry. We Trojanize them, push them back, and like get access to other containers through that image. I hope all of that was informative, but I hope you remember, I'm not a doctor. Probably you heard this phrase, don't trust me. I'm not a doctor. So I'm not a doctor. You already know that. So don't trust me. Do it yourself. Try it yourself. Make sure that you not only heard about that from me, but you also try it yourself. All right. And if you want to contact me, keep in mind my name is different. My name is different. My name is Sergey. All right. So. All right, time for your questions. Let me check Q&A. I can see one. Oh, I'm definitely awake now. That wasn't the question. Then I'm going to switch to the slide with my name. If you still want to contact me or maybe find me on some other conferences or other place where I speak, so here is the right link. Because if you try to use the name from the website, from the schedule, with a surgeon, you will never find. All right. So then, thank you very much for your participation. I hope someday, next time, like next event will not overlap with my other events, and I will be able to go to some kind of US cities where the next Wild West Hackin Fest happen, and see you in person. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.